Sports coverage of the 17th IAAF Reebok World Racewalking Cup. The second day of the weekend, Sunday the 30th of April, and the men's 50 kilometers gets underway at 8:35 in the morning. 25 laps of the circuit used for the 10 kilometers women's race and 20 kilometers men's race yesterday. The longest and hardest event in any major championship program. In the Olympic Games, nothing lasts longer than this event. The hard men, if you like, of any championship program. And again, a very strong field here. The Spaniards, well, they've got a point to prove. They do have a strong team, but they had a disaster in the 20 kilometers yesterday. Their team finishing 33rd and last after a couple of disqualifications. Massana, it was, who dropped out after 8 kilometers. And they'll be desperately hungry to make amends for that. Well, the Chinese having a great weekend on the individual front. Gao taking gold in the 10 kilometers. Li taking gold in the 20 kilometers for men. Although at the moment, the Chinese, having taken the Eschborn Cup in the women's race, are doing pretty well as well in the team race in the men's event. They won the 20 kilometers team race with 1st, 6th and 8th. And at the moment are 14 points ahead of Italy, who are 2 points ahead of Mexico. The scores from this race will be combined with the scores from the 20 kilometers race to decide who actually takes home the Lugano trophy. This lead group setting off very fast indeed. 4 minutes on the clock. And a German up there. I haven't seen a lot of the Germans in yesterday's races. Try and identify that German for you. I see his number. I think it's Axel Nowak. Well, this isn't Axel Nowak. This, wearing 22, is Yangshang Zhao of China. He's 24 years old, very powerfully built Zhao. Chinese champion last year, and he's broken away already. Mexicans going through. A lot of big names, familiar faces in this race, but they're all way down on the leader at the moment. Valerie Spitzin, we just saw go through. 58, they're working hard. That's Zukor of Hungary. 27, one of the Spaniards. Jesus Garcia, the reigning world champion. And there's the lead group. And at 5 kilometers, those are the splits. You can see Zhao blasted away from the field. Kononen of Finland, one of the favourites for an individual medal, was in 2nd place at 5 kilometers, but a long way down on Zhao. World Championship silver medalist Kononen, and walking well, but this man very powerfully built in the legs, walking superbly well. 8:51 his lap time up to 10 kilometers. Now we'll watch that compared with some lap times later on in the race, because obviously he's pouring on the pace. He's broken away from some of the best athletes in the world, including the reigning world champion. Taking liquid on board there is Zhao. Only 22 years old. Failed to finish the Asian Games last year. Very economical use of the arms. Not much movement of the arms at all there. The legs very fluent though. Really rolling forwards. Last 5 kilometers, 22:04. So there is Yangsheng Zhao coming through with just over 2 hours on the clock. The world best is 3:37 by Andrei Perlov of Russia. So about an hour and 20, an hour and 25 minutes to go for him. That last 5 kilometers, 21:47 to 30 kilometers. So a significant acceleration from the previous 5K. 27 going through is Garcia, that is the world champion. Finished just outside the medals last year in Helsinki at the European Championships, was 4th. But the Madrid-born man from Spain going very well at the moment. Kononen too is working hard. Came sixth in this event 2 years ago, Canonen, at the moment heading for a better result than that. 96 there from Mexico. Germán Sanchez took the bronze medal a couple of years ago on home soil in front of the home crowd. Massive event that was in Mexico, where they love their walking. Huge crowds in Monterrey. And there are big crowds here, spread out around the course, as we see Zhao there with Garcia right beside him. Now this is important. Garcia there, much smoother at that drink station, making up a metre or two on Zhao. And a real battle royal going on up front as the Spaniard is closed up on the Chinese. Canonen there, back in third place, coming through. Vitally important that they take drinks, and the Spaniards walking together as a team. Look at that. Three of them there, very, very close together. Spitzin, I think that was going through there as well for the Russian squad. They too sticking together. But Zhao, well, broken away again here from Garcia. Takes a very, very hard man to lead from early on, open up a gap, have somebody come back at you in the middle to latter stages, and then to push away again from that athlete. But Garcia there must be getting a little disheartened that he closed up on the Chinese, only to see the Chinese push on again. 93 going through for Mexico. That's Carlos Mercenario, the reigning champion at 50 kilometers in the World Cup. Indeed, he won it back in 1991 as well as in home soil in 93. But at the moment, finding these two too good for him. Again, Garcia has closed up on him. His full name, Garcia, is Jesus Angel Garcia Bragado. Bit of a mouthful. And the world champion now pushing ahead of Zhao. You can see him gasping in for the air there as the seeds come down off the trees around the course. Crowd really enjoying this battle as Zhao again holds off the Spaniard. Was second 2 years ago, Garcia, in 93. Went on to take the world title, but he'd love to take gold here and go one better than in Monterrey. Number 46 we saw in the background there was one of the Britons. That was Mark Easton from the Surrey Walking Club. Came 13th in the Commonwealth Games last year, but has now been lapped by the leaders here, and I think going to finish a long, long way lower down, the 13th. Last 5 kilometers up to 40k, 21:35 there. So again, the pace is pushed on still further from the middle stages or early stages of the race. Canonen grimacing now. He's a real battler, Canonen. Just over 3 hours on the clock, and Zhao again is isolated and out in front, just where he'd like to be, and the place he's worked so hard for through the race. Very, very smooth leg action. Quite a contrast with Garcia. Working so hard with the arms, Garcia. The Czech behind him there, 139. That's, well, he's not on my start list, I'm sorry about that. Late entry, I think. Number 5, Mark Thomas of Australia. Just about to be passed by Canonen. In third place at the moment, Canonen, heading for an individual medal if he can stay in this race and avoid disqualification. And Mexicans, by the way, looking very good for the team race in this particular event. Remember, they took the bronze in the 20 kilometers yesterday, so they might be on the way to maintaining or retaining the Lugano trophy. And at the bell, 48 kilometers behind them, 3:32 on the clock, and Zhao is on his own. Can't see Garcia. There he is, some way back though now from Zhao. I think his challenge has wilted in the latter stages. Canonen pushing on, but he too is some way down on Garcia, so the individual medals, unless anything dramatic happens in this final lap, look to be decided now. Zhao desperately trying to maintain his liquid intake in these latter stages. Interestingly, his one appearance in Europe saw him lose by 7 minutes, Zhao Yongsheng. But the 22-year-old has done everything right today. Jesus Garcia of Spain in the silver medal position, where he's likely to finish, the 25-year-old. And Zhao will be able to see the gap between him and his pursuers at this turnaround point as he heads down towards the finish now on this final lap. 3:40 on the clock then. Yongsheng Zhao it is of China, who has walked and walked superbly. He's led from very, very early on. He's held off various challenges, notably from Garcia, the reigning world champion, and you can't get better competition than that. But he's knocked them backwards every time, and he comes through to make it a 1-2-3 for China this weekend. They've won gold, individual gold in every event. They've taken gold in the women's 10K, gold in the men's 20K, and now gold in the men's 50K. Yongsheng Zhao of China takes the gold in the men's 50 kilometers in the 17th World Cup of Walking. Jesus Garcia comes home to take the silver medal, finished second 2 years ago in Monterrey, and he might be a little disappointed with silver medal again today, the world champion. Kanonen, well, he's not disappointed, really worked hard for that, did the Finn. 22-year-old who was second to Garcia 2 years ago, takes bronze here. Valery Spitsin of Russia has come through well. It's been a tough race for him. He was never within sight of the individual medals in the second half. He takes fourth. Rodriguez of Mexico takes fifth. Looks pretty happy with that, Rodriguez. Victor Ginko, I think, going to take sixth place for Belarus. But Rodriguez there has walked well. Indeed, has beaten Mercenario, who was the winner in 91 and 93. Pilaya, this is of France, finishing in 7th place just behind Ginko. And there's Mercenario finishing now to complete the top 8. So a big change of fortunes from Mercenario from his last 2 appearances in the World Cup. But no change of fortunes for the Chinese from yesterday. In the individual race, they take gold yet again over 50 kilometers. Yongsheng Zhao wins in 3:41.20. Jesus Garcia of Spain took the silver. Valerie Kanonen of Finland, Valentin Kanonen rather, of Finland, taking the bronze medal. And in the team race, the Mexicans taking the gold in the 50 kilometers. They were the reigning champions from 1993, and gold in the 50 kilometers team race gives them the Lugano Trophy. They retain the Lugano Trophy, the Mexicans, in the men's 17th Race Walking World Cup. Russia took silver in the 50 kilometers, Spain taking the bronze. Some consolation there for the Spaniards after their abysmal performance in the 20 kilometers yesterday. The Russians, well, silver in the 50K. They were a disappointing 10th in the 20K yesterday. So, mixed fortunes for the Chinese then. 3 individual gold medals. They also took the women's team race to take the Eschborn Cup with 1st, 3rd and 4th places ahead of Italy and Russia. Some revenge there for the Chinese in the women's event. They lost to Italy by 3 points in 1993. Well, they've won by 16 in the women's event over Italy to win the Eschborn Cup. The Lugano Trophy, as I said, going to the Mexicans. They retain that trophy by dint of taking 3rd place in the 20 kilometers team race and winning the 50 kilometers team race. But really, one has to say, the weekend belongs to the Chinese. Every single individual gold to them. Hongmiao Gao taking gold in the women's 10 kilometers. Li in the 20.